Welcome to another episode of OG55. The Italiano is back in the house. Today, we're talking about some big infrastructure and transportation changes happening around the city of Anaheim. What does this mean? There seems to be a lot of smoke. Surely there has to be some fire here because it does look like something's happening. Is it a third park? Is it something else? We don't know. We're going to speculate up next on OG50. Oh. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. Today, we are doing what we love to do the most, speculate about the future of the Disneyland Resort. We love this shit. This is amazing. This is the kind of stuff that we live for because there's a lot to dive into. Before we do, George, welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me back on. And I think this is my first show back on OG55 since my trip to Cabo. And what a show this is going to be, because there's a lot to dive into where it may seem like nothing, but I think this is definitely going to be a little something going on, not just with Disneyland, but with the city of Anaheim.
Yeah, there's something going on, and we're going to dive into it. But George, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me right here on Orange Grove 55. And you can also check out my own YouTube channel, Citrico Central, which basically is everything that we do here in studio, but we also go out on to location at the Disney parks, Universal parks, and all that good jazz.
There he is. Okay, let's dive into all the juicy goodness. We got 3 articles we're going to kind of break down. Anaheim, this courtesy, by the way, of the Daily Pilot. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's courtesy of LATimes.com. Anaheim explores aerial gondolas to connect its sports venues with Disneyland. Okay, this is courtesy of Mr. Gabriel San Ramon. And it says here, with the Olympics, Disney theme park expansions, and the OC Vibe Entertainment District on the horizon in Anaheim, the city is looking at new transit technologies to move people around. One proposal would take a page from Disneyland's retired Skyway attraction in building an aerial gondola system connecting the sports and concert venues in the Platinum Triangle, home of the Angel Stadium, Honda Center, and the Grove, to the Disneyland Resort. Okay, now I also do want to just say here real quick, this is not a confirmed thing. They are looking into this. It says here that with the Disneyland Resort expanding and the OC Vibe opening right across the street from the Honda Center, there's a heightened interest in exploring new transit options. Quote, this issue will become even more relevant, end quote, Leister said. Quote, long term, we're obligated to look at ways to better move people between these two places. So this is not a confirmed thing, but Anaheim officials, they're looking to sort of see how they can kind of get people moving through the Anaheim resort area better. What's interesting though is that the timing of this whole thing, right, George? I mean, you have Disneyland Forward was recently approved about a year and a half ago, I guess now. It's in full swing now. Big expansion coming to Disneyland Resort. It's just the beginning with that. We got the OC Vibe. We saw when we were at D23 last summer, we saw them building that thing. That's going to be a whole entertainment complex right next to the Honda Center. There's a lot happening in Anaheim. Even rumors of a possible third gate eventually on the Toy Story lot, or something on the Toy Story lot. Maybe it's a Disney Springs West. Who knows what, right? That's why I think this is a very important headline, news story, because I feel like what I said at the top of the show, where there's smoke, there's fire. I feel like there's more going on here than meets the eye. Yes, they are looking to move people around the Anaheim area as of right now, based on what we currently have and what's coming. But I think it's bigger than that, George. I think this is really getting the groundwork, the infrastructure ready for that eventual third gate. But what say you, sir?
Yeah, there's definitely something a brewing here. I think this is, even though this is just kind of like a hearsay kind of thing, nothing is confirmed by Disney or the city of Anaheim, but This definitely goes way beyond Disneyland Forward with just the Eastern Gateway. I feel like that the city of Anaheim really wants to incorporate the Disneyland Resort and interconnect it with major hotspots that are already part of the Anaheim community, the city of Anaheim itself. With D23, I mean, they utilize the Honda Center. So, I mean, moving forward, if this were to come to fruition, people that are staying close to the Anaheim Convention Center or close to the Disneyland Resort, and they now hold the bigger presentations at the Honda Center. I
Right.
mean, what a great way to actually have transportation to and fro to not even just the Honda Center, but you had mentioned the Angel Stadium and also the Grove. Now, here, kind of like refresh my memory on that because I know of the Grove, but I don't know logistics of it. Like, is it like more like of an outdoor mall kind of thing? I've never been to the Grove before.
Well, this is the thing. I was kind of scratching my head too about that because the only Grove I know is the one in LA over by CBS Studios, but that's in LA. That's not in Orange County. So I don't know what Grove they're referring to in regards to this, to be 100% honest. So anyone at home that know what the Grove is in Orange County in the Anaheim area, comment down below. This is the first time I'm hearing of that.
Okay,
I
and the reason why I asked was to get confirmation of that because if it is sort of like an indoor outdoor kind of mall with restaurants and everything, all the more when people are saying that there is going to be a West Coast Disney Springs going into the Toy Story parking lot. We already have downtown Disney. There's already Garden Walk. Depending on whatever Garden Grove is. I mean, come on, there's there's restaurants and shopping places all over the city of Anaheim. And so if that does interconnect with another kind of outdoor mall, so to speak, that just heightens up the possibilities that the Toy Story lot is going to be for a third gate. And I remember a few weeks ago when we were in Anaheim for my birthday weekend, and we were checking into the World Mark. The guy down at the lobby said to me that this is going to be the last year that the Disney bus transportation will be picking people up at the World Mark because it will be stopping in 2026 because they're closing that off. Plus, he had mentioned a new hotel and a new theme park going into the Toy Story parking lot. And now, again, is that a full confirmation? No, but it does make you think that all these businesses that are surrounding Disneyland, they have to have a heads up kind of notice before anybody else would, so they know how to operate each individual business.
Right. And these things aren't happening like in isolated bubbles, so to speak, right? So if it was just that one manager at the World Mark who said that and nothing else was happening, we could chalk it up to like the manager doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's one dude, whatever, right? But you have that guy saying that, right? You have now we have this. This is official. I mean, this is the city of Anaheim is confirming they are looking into this. So they're looking into gondolas. They're looking into better ways to move people or people move around the city, right? There's a lot happening. This is happening in conjunction with the Eastern Gateway. That's going to start breaking ground pretty soon. I think in about a year or so. In conjunction with a huge expansion for Disneyland Resort. So there's a lot of things kind of happening. So when I'm hearing stuff like from the guy at the World Mark Hotel, the manager saying stuff like that, I kind of like I take it more seriously because it just seems like a lot of things kind of lining up. My only critique about a gondola system is that for mass transportation, right? I know gondola systems are cool, you know, it is what it is, but I think for mass transportation, if you want to move the most amount of people, I don't know if gondolas are the greatest option. And the reason being is that you want to find modes of transportation that like pretty much everyone feels comfortable riding. So when you have a gondola, basically a metal box dangling over Catella, okay, not everyone's going to feel 100% cool going on that. I know our good friend, Mr. Webba is doesn't like heights. I'm not big on claustrophobic spaces. So, there's a lot of barrier to entry to a gondola system. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Now, when you want to move a lot of people, though, you're going to want to get a system that most people are cool with. So I don't know if a gondola is like the best option. I think what they have at the Getty over there in LA is probably a better option, where it's kind of like a bulkier, beefier, like people mover. It's more like a tram on like a people mover kind of track. That I think would be better. I think most people are comfortable in that kind of transportation. I just feel gondolas are kind of a little nichey, and I don't think everyone's super down to go on it. And if you want to move a lot of people, you're kind of limiting your potential there. I don't know. What say you, George? I know you don't mind them, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind gondolas or a skyway. I mean, I've been on the ones done at Walt Disney World, and I've been on plenty of others, like in the amusement park kind of setting. But I do see your point of how it's not for everybody. There are people who, like yourself, that gets claustrophobic in like airtight, you know, spaces. There's people like Ebba who has a fear of heights. So with a gondola system, it's basically both of your fears combined into one, so to speak.
Right.
I wouldn't mind if they had it, but I think that they would definitely should consider having another form of transportation, like do the people mover kind of thing, or like a subway tram kind of thing, but also have the gondolas for the people who do choose to use that as the mode of transportation. And the rate that this seems like this is going is almost like they're turning the city of Anaheim into, really honestly, what Walt Disney World is. Even though Walt Disney World is completely separate from everything else in the real world, but it's almost like that they're incorporating the city of Anaheim into the Disneyland space if they were to do this, because essentially they're adding multiple transportations to get from one spot to the other, just
Right.
like Walt Disney World. That then leads to the conclusion of, is there a possibility that all this is going to lead up to a third gate? Because just like with Universal's Epic Universe, it's separate from the rest of the resort. So you take a bus to go over to that area, or if you're staying in one of the neighboring hotels in that area, it's just like a hop, skip, and a jump. But that's what it seems like that they're doing here with the city of Anaheim.
Yes, I would agree with you. I feel like they're okay. Remember what they did in the lead up to Galaxy's Edge opening is they started to change things around Disneyland to kind of prepare for Galaxy's Edge opening, right? So they were widening walkways. I think it was called Operation Stardust, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But they were widening walkways. They were even flattening curbs, and they were prepping for Galaxy's Edge opening and the eventual crowd that would be coming in. I feel like this is kind of like that on a larger scale. They're kind of getting the infrastructure in place for an eventual third park. We talked about a lot here on the channel. What are they going to do? Because it's probably going to be the Toy Story lot. Well, you're going to need to get people from the main resort with DCA and Disneyland over to the new little, mini resort over there with the third park, right? So are they going to do a bus system? Are they going to do a monorail? Are they going to do a people mover? Like all of these questions we're kind of circling. It seems like they're tackling, they're kind of getting things started now or very soon. So when the third park does eventually get built, you kind of have that system already in place. It's a smart thing. Like Universal didn't really do that, right? And not to their fault. I don't know what the logistics were with that. Maybe they couldn't. I don't know. But Disneyland has an opportunity right now to work with Anaheim to kind of get things sort of set up. So by the time the third park does get built, you already have a people mover going over in that direction. You already have a gondola system. You already have maybe driverless vehicles going around the city of Anaheim. Maybe even have a monorail expansion, So by the time that the third park gets online, you don't really have to do a whole lot in regards to infrastructure. So I feel like there's a lot going on here. Well, you brought this article to my attention, George, which I thought was very interesting. Anaheim proposes city takeover of Disneyland area transit provider. This is courtesy of Michael Slayton. Anaheim wants to take control of the resort area's transit provider, the Anaheim Transportation Network, in hopes the city can find a way to get the agency on a solid financial footing without asking hoteliers to pay more. ATN's board, made up largely of hoteliers and other resort interests, including a Disney representative, met Friday at Anaheim City Hall to hear the city's early pitch for a takeover. The transit agency and the city earlier this year signed a letter of understanding that called for exploring such a move. Now, Anaheim wants to move forward with the takeover, but first must win support from ATN's board. Now, it says here, quote, the priority is to stabilize ATN financially, said the public works director, Rudy Amami, who delivered the city's presentation to ATN's board. Very, very, very interesting to get Disneyland on board, have a Disneyland Resort takeover of their transit system. See what I'm saying? There is a lot happening here, George. This is not just one thing. I feel like there's a lot of moves being made behind the scenes. They're setting this shit up. Now, look, I'm not going to get on here and say that a third park is coming in 5 years. It's not. I can tell you that right now. But a third park is coming. And this is long-term stuff they're planning right now. And they are setting up that infrastructure for that eventuality, in my opinion. But what do you think about this bus thing? It's crazy.
Yeah, I think honestly, when you start to look at all the pieces individually, you look at it and say, okay, it's a very cut and dry kind of like piece of information. But when you start piecing those puzzle pieces together, you get a much bigger picture. We were already talking about modes of transportation being added to the city of Anaheim. Now you're looking at a transportation system that's already there, but you're looking at as a takeover to then add, could possibly be an add-on to, again, if they were to add the Skyway or if they were to add a people mover. And that's where I was going back with, it really seems like the city of Anaheim and the Disneyland Resort are really, for the first time, I could actually say in forever, that no pun intended, that they're on same kind of surface level of understanding, that they are in agreement that could the city of Anaheim become just one big gigantic resort complex.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I did say a Disney takeover. I'm sorry, I meant Anaheim takeover. But yeah, it's crazy to me how these things are all coming together, man. And I'm telling you, we have never been as close to a third gate as we are right now. And I'm super excited. I can't wait.
Well, and especially too, the bus system now with the Eastern Gateway would make a lot of the Disney buses, just the quote unquote Disney buses, very limited to what they can do and where they can go. So depending on wherever the bus reroute is going to be, the city of Anaheim may have a bigger plan for it to then utilize all those buses that they wouldn't even be using.
Right, exactly. And wasn't it the World Mark manager that you were checking in with that told you about the buses and all the whole thing? So that's connected to this, and it's the whole thing, dude.
Yeah,
it's a whole
literally, he said 2026, the bus pickup and drop off will no longer be available at the World Mark.
Right. Right. Now I know they're doing the Eastern Gateway, and that's going to cut into the Disneyland bus drop-off area. But why couldn't they find another drop-off area in the meantime or something? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so the fact that they're leaning more towards the city of Anaheim for a possible, so there has to be a conversation that we don't know that they're having, that there's bigger plans in mind.
There's something going on. Yeah, there's something going on. There's too much going on with all this stuff for it not to be something, right? But that's not all. We have a friend of the channel, Theme Park IQ, here says a new hotel will soon start construction near Disneyland across the street from the Garden Walk. The hotel in permits is labeled as the Roadhouse Hotel. The hotel will feature 6 stories with 125 guest rooms, a rooftop pool and bar, restaurant, and ground level parking. It will be located at 1730 South Clementine. Now, we've actually stayed very close to this. We've been here. Where is that? Right here, right? I think this is where's the main gate? I think it's right here, the Anaheim main gate,
Yeah, because it's right next to Clementine.
right next to Clementine. We've stayed here quite a few times. Really nice places. But the Roadhouse is going to be right behind it. Actually, the World Mark isn't even too far from here too.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole area is getting shuffled around. So a new hotel now right across from Garden Walk. So we'll see. I don't know.
And
A
that
lot.
kind of came out of left wing. Like no one was ever really anticipating on a new hotel,
No.
So I wonder again, is there some sort of connection with everything else? Like, are they adding a new hotel for what? What is a hotel used for? It's to have more occupancy for more guests to come. So are they anticipating that there's going to be a lot more guests visiting Anaheim within the next
20
5 to
years.
10 years,
Yeah. No, I think they are. Absolutely. I mean, just the Disneyland Forward stuff alone, I think with Pandora stuff, it's going to be a busy, decade, I think, for Disneyland Resort, So, but I love this stuff, man. I love this stuff. I love to see this kind of stuff being discussed and planned. I think it's great. I think it's all good things. I think this is really this kind of stuff, this infrastructure kind of resort city improvement plan stuff that our friend Haybrick talks about all the time is some of my favorite. It's my jam. I love it because this is going to impact how you enter the resort. This is going to impact whether we have a third gate. This is going to impact so much.
The stuff that you would think is very insignificant is the stuff that would give the major impact of what the future is going to be. And honestly, I have a feeling that within the next decade or so and moving forward, no pun intended, that the city of Anaheim and the Disneyland Resort is not going to look the way that we're used to seeing it as. I think it's going to look completely different.
No, yeah. If you look at the way you get in and out of the park today, and compare that to like when I was a kid in like '95, completely different animal, dude. Like if you really look at it, like, but when in '95 when Indiana Jones Adventure opened, you parked where DCA is. It was a 100-acre parking lot, and you parked right there on a flat surface parking lot that went on forever, and that's where DCA is now. And you just walked up. And look at how different it is now. Now you get off the 5 freeway, you get into the Mickey and Friends or the Pixar and Pals, right? Or you go over to the Toy Story lot. There's so much going on. The security checkpoints in downtown Disney. It's just a whole different animal. And I think in 15, 20 years, it's going to be that much of a drastic change, that we saw this last time. So I don't know.
Agree. Now, on this map where it shows the Disneyland name with the red arrow,
right
opposite from it, that gigantic parking lot. Now that's where the parking structure is going to go, correct?
Yes, actually, this is only part of it. I think there's even more up here too. So yeah, but you're right. That's where the big parking structure is going to go. So this is part of it, and then up here there's actually even more. So yeah, it's huge. So yeah, big things are happening. I want to thank George for bringing a lot of stuff to my attention. I mean, this is wild stuff. I hope they kind of come up with a good plan to kind of get people to and fro. The gondola system, I like the conversation around it. I don't love that particular idea. Like I said before, it limits people. But even aside from limiting people, it also creates a lot. I'm going to be a douchey theme park guy right now. It also creates a lot of sightline issues. One of the issues that I had with the Skyway buckets was that it was kind of and I know I'm going to get shit for this, but it was an eyesore. Let's be honest. Going through Fantasyland stuff, it wasn't the greatest. It looked like the OC Fair or something, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's kind of an eyesore, and I don't really want to be walking through Cars Land or something and then see gondolas. I don't know. That's just me, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but I think it creates sightline issues. And then there's a bunch of wires, and they look like just power lines. And we finally are in a spot right now with DCA where we're starting to finally cover a lot of that shit because we got Cars Land, and we got the big building now coming in for Avengers, and I just don't want to have any issues with. Now we're going to be adding more sightline issues somehow, some way, because I don't know what the route's going to be for this thing. So,
well, and we also don't know too that operation wise, if just to say the gondola's shut down or there's like an electrical issue and what have you, how that would hinder. Because again, as you were mentioning, like the route system, if it's going over regular Anaheim traffic,
Right.
that could potentially hinder the daily traffic. That just to say, if something were to happen with the gondolas, how they manage, the technicalities behind it as well.
100%, 100%. So there's a lot of logistics. I'm sure the city and Disney, they're going to work together, and even the Honda Center and all that jazz, they're going to work together to kind of get this thing kind of sorted. But conversations are being had, and it's exciting. So we'll see what happens. But I kind of feel it's interesting though. I kind of feel that there's more energy and more momentum and more smoke around a third gate right now than a new Tomorrowland, which is wild to me.
Well, I actually, I think I had this conversation with you very briefly, but we didn't really like dive into that. But I actually think I do agree with you, but I also actually feel like it seems like there's more smoke around a third gate before they even touch the Simba lot for a DCA expansion right now. That is because, I mean, if you really think of it, Pandora's going in Hollywoodland, Coco's going behind the pier, behind the Incredicoaster. Nothing else is set for anything of a DCA expansion until they get the Eastern Gateway up and running with the new parking structure so they could alleviate the other parking lots. But it seems like in the meantime, we're starting to get like little trickles of, little trickles of cinders there, that a third gate could be much closer than what we're anticipating.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think Symbolot, because we know for a fact it was confirmed that Pandora is going where Monsters Inc. is going right now. Now, will it be more than that? I don't know, but we know for a fact it's at least taking over Monsters Inc. and that busload area, right? I mean, technically that's Disneyland Forward because of the busload area, but we've heard nothing about Simba. And here's the thing: we're getting a big 5 years right now for DCA. They're not gonna do the next 5 years all about DCA again. Like they're putting probably $1 billion into DCA right now these next 5 years, maybe even a little bit more, to be honest with you. They're not going to do another big DCA expansion again in the tail end the next 5 years. So the next 5 years after this will probably be Disneyland or something else. So Simba's probably going to sit empty for a little while, or sit as a parking lot for a while, I would assume.
I would think, because majority of, well, actually, all of the Simba lot more so is kind of destined to be an expansion of DCA. And you're right, that really is true. I didn't really even think about that if they're putting so much money into DCA already with Avengers, Coco, and Pandora, and then for the first 5 years, and then the next 5 years they're going to go back to DCA and say they could, but that sounds a little bit too repetitive and too monotonous that they would not really expand anything of Disneyland, because obviously Disneyland can hold its own, but I would think that they would want to give Disneyland some sort of attention and not keep it absent for 10 years. That would seem very odd.
It would seem odd. I mean, personally, I would be okay with it just because I want them to really get DCA going here, and I'd be fine with I would be fine with the DCA decade. I'd be completely fine with that. But I know a lot of fans wouldn't be. I know that for sure. And I know Disney doesn't want to do that, because you're right. I mean, Disneyland is still the main draw.
Yeah.
You're going to want to add to that.
I don't know. Like, I think that they'll do stuff with Disneyland, but it won't be like a new land expansion. I feel like they'll like take stuff out, possibly Autopia, the subs, the motorboat cruise area, they'll add some more things. That's what I think that they do. Maybe do something with the Lilo and Stitch parking lot. But I don't know. I think honestly on the back end, not the front end of the second half, but on the back end of the 10 years, I think we're going to get an announcement of a third gate for Disneyland.
I think so too. I think it's coming, y'all. I think they are definitely, I think they're planting those seeds and setting up that infrastructure for that eventuality. And I don't know, it's coming. I think you're right, George. Now, real quick, before we get out of here, I want to make a few announcements. This is courtesy of our good friend Jared from Capture the Magic. We do a bi-weekly show with Jared, George and I. along with Slimer called Theme Parkin'. We actually recently did a live. Check it out. It's on my channel as well, here on OG55. But there's a great store, CTM Apparel. You can get all your nerdy shirts. It's pretty awesome. They got a lot of great ones, like this one right here. Where is that one? Oh, here it is. Backside of Water. Great stuff. But anyway, if you go on this website, which I'll be linking down below, and you use promo code OG55, you'll get 10% off any kind of nerdy shirt that you want. And these shirts fit really good for the dudes. They hug your chest, your shoulders, a little looser on the midsection, perfect fit. So it makes you look ripped. If you want to look ripped like Jared from Capture the Magic, wear these shirts. And also one more thing, we have the lovely Mimi fan, friend of the channel, who, look, if you're not really interested in eating crappy theme park food all the time, you should definitely check her out on Instagram. She will, get you into all the great spots in OC or LA. A lot of like boba places, Korean barbecue, sushi places. So check it out. She's a lot of fun, and she's a friend of the channel. So make sure you check out her Instagram, also her YouTube channel, which I will be linking down below. Mr. Italiano, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely, and so glad to be back on. And it was a great conversation, and a lot to be looking out for on the horizon, especially for the Disneyland Resort and the city of Anaheim. But in any case, you could find me right here on Orange Grove 55. And also you could find me on my own YouTube channel, Citrico Central, where basically I go out into the parks and cover all the breaking news stuff as well. And just hit another milestone. I'm like, literally, I doubled my subs on the channel. I am almost to 1,000, and definitely I got some memberships going out there. So if you want to check them out, definitely a lot coming out of the channel. But I want to thank everybody who has supported me, the channel, supported us here on OG55, and it really means a lot to us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the coolest things actually that, like, since I started the channel, one of the coolest things has been seeing like our friends, everybody that we've kind of like, we're close with, and that also makes content, right?
Yes.
Like it started in this OG55 little bubble, and people branch out and kind of like do their thing and get bigger and bigger. I love that. I love that we're like, and then we all come back together like the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking awesome. So yeah, no, really proud of you, brother. You're like a chest hair away from 1,000. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And actually, Kiki and Luca hooked you guys up. He gifted like 10 memberships.
15
or 15.
15.
Dude, that's
nuts.
Kiki and Luca's the man. He is the man. We love Kiki.
Kiki and Luca, I mean, awesome. And then also a good friend of the channel, Mr. Tech Bear, Kev, got to give him a shout out as well, that he also became a member. And so definitely a lot to be looked upon with Citrico Central, a lot of member exclusive stuff that's coming up. And again, follow the channel, like, subscribe and you'll be getting that daily news of how the channel is going to expand and grow, just like the Disneyland Resort with Disneyland Forward. So
there we go. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today. Support all the friends of the channel, including George, Mimi Fan, and Jared from Capture the Magic. Support all of our good friends here on OG55. And until the next time, see you later.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a member today.